KREUTZER Violin Etude number 31 step-by-step tutorial. Part 1. Eyes first. Hi there, Dr. Seitz here. And I wanted to let you know how excited I am about all of the latest views, likes, and subscribers that our channel is showing. And I just wanted to hop on here and let you all know how grateful we are for having you as an audience. You guys are just a fantastic audience, and you make us feel very, very appreciated and encourage us and motivate us to post more and more content on this channel. And what I'm especially happy about is that every year around this time of year, right after we post the new All State Etudes, we see an uptick of activity on our YouTube channel, and that tells me that you guys are really buckling down and starting to practice. And this is actually the real reason why I started my channel, is to motivate my students, myself, and whoever is watching it to become better violinists, to really get better at practicing and being more effective at practice. So thank you so much. And because of this, I decided to do something a little different this year. I decided to continue with more in-depth tutorials of both Kreutzer 31 and Violin 32, and just help you guys to organize your practice even better during the summer. Now, if I posted just one long tutorial for each of the etudes, I doubt anyone would watch it through. So therefore, after making these tutorials and realizing how long they are because of so many challenges of each etude, I decided to divide it into bite-sized chunks and post them regularly on our channel. In these tutorials, I will be unpacking each of the etudes and show you how I do that for myself and for my students. And I know that following these tutorials will really help you to organize your practice and maybe not feel too overwhelmed because you don't know where to start and how to proceed with each etude. However, even though the challenges will be very specific, my solutions for the challenges, of course, have to be more or less generalized because of the fact that I'm addressing a very large audience. So if you wanted a more personalized approach, we have the upcoming All State Bootcamp that I highly recommend for you. And if you sign up for it, you will receive several Zoom sessions where you could actually communicate. Those will be group sessions, but you can communicate during the group sessions with me directly and ask to address specific issues that you have. And at the end of the bootcamp, every participant receives half-hour virtual private lesson with me. And finally, if you would like the PDFs of sheet music to these and other etudes featured on this channel, make sure and go over to our community page where you can see those in our community posts, along with very important upcoming events and some news in the lives of Seitz String Pros. And now let's start unpacking those etudes. So let's begin. Here we are, Kreutzer 31, the very beginning. Our first task is to make sense out of what we're going to be dealing with this etude. And I want to ask you a question. Have you ever heard of this expression, you eat with your eyes first? What it means is that a visual aspect of your food that you're about to eat is very important. In fact, that's why if you watch any of those celebrity chefs or any kind of cooking videos made by professional people, they stress that very much, how important it is the presentation, that you present your food in a manner that wants people to start eating. Well, actually, your visual aspect, your visual perception of a brand new piece is just as important, because if you've never played, let's say, Kreutzer 31, and you're just looking at this music for the first time, the impression that you get from that visual image is usually pretty accurate and tells you exactly what kind of challenges you might be dealing with. So let's take a look at this etude. And I tell you, my first impression was, don't want to do it, don't want to deal with it, want to close the page and go on. Because the first impression when I look at this etude, that it's extremely chaotic. Look at the lines. All the lines are very jagged, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's mostly 16th notes, which tells me that it's going to be pretty fast. And then look at the amount of accidentals in just the first phrase. It's like 5, 6 accidentals already. And not even talking about the key signature, 3 flats. Okay, 3 is not too bad, but flats, I really don't like flats. So my first impression is chaos. And let me tell you, it's pretty accurate. It does feel pretty chaotic. If you've never played it and you played the first line, what even key am I in? I have F sharps, I have E flats, I have B natural, F sharp, B natural. Confusing. And then on top of it, finally, when I get to a longer note, I have to deal with the grace notes and trills and more accidentals. So here is going back to the visual aspect. You can actually use visual aspect of music. You can tweak it in a way that will help you to see what is important in this passage. So let me show you a trick that I do for myself and for my students and prove to you that there's actually a method behind Kreutzer's madness in this etude. So here we are, we're going to get rid of first note of every slur in that very first motive and play only the notes that we're left with. So let's see how hard this is. So now we have G, E flat, C, G, E flat, C. Let's just play that. Now you can, don't worry about the bowings. You don't have to do anything. You can even pits if you want to. Make sure you follow the fingerings, which in this case, it's first position. So how hard can it be? There we go. G, E flat, C, G, E flat, C. Oh my goodness. How much plainer and simpler can it be? We just played a C minor triad and it's all in the first position. So do you see? This is the trick that will help you to actually get through the etude and familiarize yourself with the etude so much easier and so much faster, and you'll be so much more effective. I promise you, every one of those descending, jagged passages like this that have bajillion accidentals, that's what it's all about. If you just forget about the first note on the slur and first figure out what are the second notes on every slur, you'll end up with a very simple descending triad or ascending. There are a couple of them where they're ascending actually, but those triads is your key to understanding what this etude is all about. So let's call it kind of like a skeleton or a blueprint of every phrase. And that's all you need to do for understanding those 16th note passages, most of them. Now, once you're out of the 16th notes, let's go on and we're going to also get rid of, we're going to play the 2 measures until the rest. We have the 16th note rest until the new phrase starts. But we're going to just get rid of trills and accidentals and just kind of, and that will be our skeleton for the whole etude. So let's try it slowly. Okay, now that was pretty easy and pretty straightforward. So basically all you have a C minor triad and that's it. So all of those 2 measures basically are all about a C minor triad and they're ending in C minor. So that is pretty easy. I hope this helped you. This is the very first step that I would do with the whole etude, understanding the skeleton of every one of those phrases that has a bunch of accidentals will help you tremendously to make sure that you are not making any mistakes as you're learning this etude, right? I mean, mistakes in reading, accidentally reading the wrong accidentals or wrong notes or losing the sight of how to even hear all of those intervals that are there. So once you figure the skeleton, it's not that hard to add. When you add the first notes to the slur, we're gonna do that right now, you will see that it's basically half a step. Each of those notes is just half a step leading on to that second note of the slur, which is the most important. So once you do that, it's very easy to kind of hear the rest of those accidentals. They're not as scary. So basically, if your second note is G, the note before will be half a step down. That's F sharp. Now for E flat, the note before will be D, half a step right into it. Then the second note is C, but the first note on that slur is B natural. Then again, F sharp, and then you repeat. This is exact same melody, only an octave lower. Right? And then you can add. You just add the slurs and grace notes whenever you're ready, when you feel like you figured out the rhythmic structure of these longer notes in that motive, and once you do, you're golden. Now, we're going to discuss slurs and intonation in more detail later in this tutorial. And as I said, just for the sake of manageability and helping you not to get overwhelmed with everything that you have to deal with this etude, I am breaking it up into bite-sized chunks and posting it regularly on the channel. So make sure to subscribe. If you already subscribed, thank you so much. Please check that you have your notification bell on, and then if you are not subscribed, which is when I look at our views and our subscribers grows, I see that majority of viewers don't subscribe to the channel. So I would like to encourage you to please subscribe if you find this content helpful, because it really helps our channel grow in a very good and positive way and reach out to more people who need this information. And then as you subscribe, don't forget to check your the bell, because that is what will give you notification on when our next chunk of this tutorial coming out. So our next tutorial will be on Fiorillo, and I plan to stagger them, part 1 of Kreutzer, then part 1 of Fiorillo, and so forth. So I hope you keep up with this. And finally, I want to give you an assignment for the next week. So as you're practicing this week, I would like you to go through the whole etude in this manner. It doesn't matter which stage you're on, whether you're just familiarizing yourself with the etude or you already know how to play it through. Go through all of those difficult places that are hard to read, that have a bunch of accidentals, and figure out those skeleton parts of the phrase. You will see that you will have so much more understanding of how to play this etude, how to tune, how to hear the right intonation in this etude. And then I want to give you a specific assignment. Here is a part of the beginning that I bracketed. You see those green brackets? So what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to pay attention to this particular part of the etude and post in the comments. There are only 3 triads that Kreutzer is using in this particular passage. And so I would love for you to post in the comments if you decipher those 3 triads that are important in this passage. And remember, to do that, all you have to do to decipher this is just to forget about the first notes on every slur and just play through just the second notes on every slur. And I'll promise you, it'll be very easy for you to figure out which 3 triads this passage is based on, okay? And I would love to see that in the comments. And finally, our next tutorial is going to be all about the accidentals. So don't miss that. I'll see you next week. And for now, just keep practicing.